Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm going to be doing a reading for us for the week. I haven't been here for a minute, and I wanted to just tap into this reading to give you guys some information for the week. See if we could tap into the Akasha and figure out how we could make your week better. Pulling out some cards. I'm going to just do a little bit of shuffling now. Kind of want to warm the cards up. I hope all of you are doing well. I also wanted to talk a little bit about just some things I've been feeling, and I wanted to know how you are feeling. I want to hear about how you're feeling in the comments. It seems to me that the atmosphere lately has been a little bit thick with regard to the trouble that we've been experiencing in the world. And there have been times that I, a person who typically do not have fears and things of that nature, when I go into a mall or if I go into a restaurant or if I go into a public place, I have begun to wonder, okay, what is the nearest exit? Where will I hide if there is a shooter? What should I do if a crime is committed? And should I have just stayed home and ordered the food or the groceries and have it delivered to me? Because a lot of people do not want to go to churches, they do not want to go to movie theaters, grocery stores, malls, simply because of so much violence. And it seems like in this country, we're not really addressing it. It seems like we're addressing it on a case by case basis. And it seems like we as a people, because it's not up to the government, it's not up to the police. It's up to us. And we need to be prepared to take back our society. People need to know what their rights are if a shooter comes into a public place. What are your rights to carry your own weapon? What are your rights, and do you have to go through hiring a lawyer and going through a bunch of junk and putting your family out if you end up shooting the shooter to stop them from what they're doing? How do we protect people who come and protect others so that they will not come out of their pockets or they cannot be sued by the family of the shooter? There should be laws put in place that if the shooter is killed by a person that is there, they cannot be sued. They cannot There's a fund that will pay for their expenses if they have to go to court for anything. And again, the family and friends of the shooter cannot sue them civilly or criminally. We need to have a government that is going to assist us in protecting ourselves. Is not necessarily vigilante justice, because we live in a different time than any of us have ever experienced in our lifetimes. Now, since there is nothing new under the sun, and I'm just talking right now, since there's nothing new under the sun, we may have had times like this before in the past. But right now, it is very disconcerting for people like me who don't usually worry about any of this stuff or don't think about it, to not want to go into a church, not want to go into a public place, to not want to deal with any of this stuff. It's getting to the point where it's out of hand. It's also getting to the point where it's just dumb for us to wait for it to go away. We're waiting for people to forget. We're waiting for it to get out of the news. We're waiting for people to act like it didn't happen. And then some of the news is being suppressed. There's too many things going on. There's some crazy energies in the land. And if you ask me, I believe that the demonic activity, and when I say demonic activity, understand that no matter what you believe, no matter what tradition you come from, no matter what spirituality you ascribe to, even if you're just a scientist, there is negative and positive. And there appears to be too much negativity in the land. And we can't really depend on the Pentecostals to cast it out. And we can't really depend on the Catholic priests to come up with exorcists to get rid of it. We as a people have to take into our hands our own neighborhoods, our own families, and our own communities. And we have to come up with a way to destroy evil. And that's one of the things I want to do in this reading. I want to get questions answered from the oracles. How do we stand up against all this evil? How do we stand up against all this mayhem that is existing in this country? And of course, the country doesn't want us to all leave and go somewhere else. So they pretend like everything is fine, that we're the greatest country in the world, and they're telling us all this stuff. And then the only thing we see having to do with other countries on television is how bad they are, how they're third world, how they're still developing, and they want to make the rest of the world appear to be awful when it's our country that is awful. So I am very upset about this and disconcerted. I won't say I'm very upset. I will say that I am disconcerted. I know so many other people are, even without having, we don't really know what's going on with COVID right now. I know that I've been reading the comments in a lot of videos about various things and people saying that with COVID, they can't hear anymore. With COVID, they can't smell anymore. With COVID, that they're having all these strange symptoms. So, my question is, what is COVID? COVID doesn't appear to be just a regular coronavirus, it appears to be something else. What in the heck is COVID? So, I want to ask that question too. Let's breathe together. The first question: what can we do in the United States to get rid of all this evil, these all this weirdness, all this craziness? What can we do in the United States to get rid of all this evil? Oh wow. I get the card of death. I'm going to clarify this. We all know what death is. In tarot, it means change, it means transformation, it means going into a new way of doing things. We have the Ace of Wands. This is a fire card. It in traditional sense it has to do with promotion. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a very, very odd reading. Death, Ace of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. Now, before I clarify this, the first thing that is going to come that's coming to my mind is that all of the professions that we have, how many of them do we need? Okay, let's take fast food. How many people, how many thousands or millions of people work in fast food restaurants? quite a bit, right? And fast food restaurants are killing people. But we have all these fast food restaurants out here that are not doing anybody any good, but then they're employing a lot of people. What if we turned these fast food restaurants into security stations to help secure our neighborhoods? Because you know that there's a McDonald's everywhere. What if we turn these restaurants, these fast food restaurants, and the employees of fast food restaurants into professionals who are responsible for emitting satellite imagery to helping to stay abreast of what's happening in the community, who acts kind of like as a beacon for help for people who need immediate help. I'm not saying to over police. I'm just giving an example because it seems like with the death card and the ace of wands, it seems like we need to take our society and some of the things that we're doing and we need to go into like a wartime effort because we are at war against evil. And we need to determine which ones of our institutions need to be brought down and turned into something else. Let's take the school system. We're teaching our children how to basically be ants. But should we focus on how to teach them how to have empathy, how to have morals, how to have integrity? Should we take should we kill the current system of education and create a whole new way of doing things? That is what will bring the wheel of fortune. So this is the first impression that I'm getting. How do we get rid of all this evil? We've got to kill it by killing certain institutions, killing certain ways that we handle our institutions, killing certain curriculums, and recreating new curriculums. And we're going to have to create some think tanks. Think tanks. How to do this. Because many of us are looking back at the old ways and the old days and we're wondering, okay, I mean, like I remember when we could leave our doors unlocked, and now people, it seems like people are so evil and it's so many of them. And some of the people are evil because of what how they were treated. Some people just require a little bit more policing than others, but it's hard to do that without victimizing a whole group of people. We've got to be able to pull the bad apples out of the bunch, and then we can get to a place of fortune. I want to pull another card with regard to clarifying the death card. We have the Three of Cups, getting along. That's confirmation that we've got to begin teaching unity. The teaching and a curriculum of unity, togetherness, solidarity, and love needs to come back into the classroom. This has nothing to do with religion. We need to begin teaching unity, solidarity, and love in the classrooms, in our societies. I want to clarify the Ace of Wands, 10 of Wands, hard work, something that's heavy, something that's a burden, and the Queen of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, 10 of Wands, and Queen of Swords. We've got to bring the families back together. The women can't do it on their own. This represents the divorced woman, the separated woman, and everything that's on her to try to make things work because so many men walk away. So many men stay. Now, there's a lot of men who stay, and there's a lot of men who take care of their families and they do things for each other. So even though there are women who leave, there are men who leave, there are men who stay. And the single parent is creating a society of people who have issues, people who are suffering, people who are not doing well. And these children grow up pretty quickly, and then they become our adults, and then they become troubled. So we've got to figure that out. We've got to figure that out. I'm going to do another 3 card reading, just in general, along these same lines, because I do believe our society is in trouble. There's certain things we have to get rid of. There's certain things we have to get rid of. Okay, so we've got the family, the 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, the family coming together. Grandma's there, the dogs, the mother, the father, the children. And then we have the 4 of Swords. This appears to be these are very strange connected cards. The 4 of Swords, the person who they seem dissatisfied or upset in some way. Um, they're between battles in the traditional sense of the card. And the 4 of Cups. There is this situation where people receive what they don't want, and they are looking for what they think they want. But we're not making good choices in love. It seems like we need to go into some system of figuring out how to put people together. As far as the lovers are concerned, you see the angel at the top. It's our way that we connect with people. In other countries, they have arranged marriages, and I'm all for doing an experiment with arranged marriages because it's hard to leave a 16 and a 17. You leave it up to a 16-year and a 17-year-old to pick who they want to be with for the rest of their lives. The way that we do things in America, in my opinion, is not right, and we're setting ourselves up for failure. These young people, they don't have any the parents and the older generation and the wiser generation have no say so in who they pick to be the loves of their lives. And that is where the breakdown of the family comes in. You've got these young people and people who are broken already, who have nobody is coming together to them to help them understand what they need in love. So they're picking the wrong things. They end up having children. They end up being angry. And they go and they have angry children and they're angry. And then we have a messed up society. America is a very rebellious nation, and America wants to do things America's way. And you guys might not like what I have to say, but America needs discipline, and America needs assistance with helping her to know what to do. And we need to pool our resources, and we need to find out who is this person, who is this group that can help pull us together, the group of professionals, psychologists, spiritual leaders who can create a plan for mankind in America to help get us back on track. We need that. All right. I hope this helps. Take care. Bye bye.